Starting the stream. Give it a few seconds.
Yeah. Just feel free to go whenever.
Okay. Welcome to Nintendo Dad's episode 149, recorded on October 4th, 2017.
Oh, hang on, I gotta record.
That's helpful.
Okay, go for real this time. Whatever. 3, 2, 1. Sorry, that was my bad.
Welcome to Nintendo Dad's episode 149, recorded on October 4th, 2017. On tonight's episode, we discuss the launch of the Super Nintendo Classic and discuss the Wii Shop closing, along with future Switch games launches, and I'm not used to doing this, so please, Zach, take it over. Cue the music.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. My name is Zach Erickson, and tonight is October the 4th, 2017. Joining me tonight, filling the internet with his amazing dulcet tones, is Jesse Waldeck. What's going on, Jesse?
Pretty good. It's been a long week, and I don't. The problem with this time of year, where it's getting cooler, the air conditioner doesn't run as much, means the basement is hot as hell.
Yeah.
Because my computer is still generating heat and outputting it into the room. So even though it's 60 degrees outside, it is almost 80 degrees where I am. And of course I have to have the fan off, otherwise you'll hear it. So this is going to be a rough night.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Steamy, joining us as well, filling the third seat, we have both Justin and Marty are both gone. So speaking of Steamy, joining us, Josh Thomas from Nintendo Beyond. What's going on, Josh?
Listen, Jesse, I'm very comfortable. I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now, and I'm not hot at all.
Nice. Right on. Hey, thanks. You're just joining us last minute, but I appreciate you coming on, man.
Listen, anytime. Love chatting with you guys.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I'm looking forward to it. We don't actually have a whole lot of news to talk about, but I'm excited nonetheless. So let's get straight into it, shall we?
We shall.
All right, and the news is brought to us by patreon.com/NintendoDads. For as little as $1 a month, you guys can join the amazing people who are supporting the show. And by the way, for people who are, we've talked a lot about the line chat over the past, several months, and basically, we have really awesome news for the patrons before we get into the show, and that is that line chat is gone. Right, we are no longer doing live chat. We talked about last week how it was kind of getting unsustainable with the number of people that we have in it. We have moved officially, as of this week, over to Discord, and so now, for all of our $5 a month patrons and up, you get access to the Discord channel, which is awesome, and it is so much better in every way. Jesse, I don't know if you feel the same way, but it is a lot more manageable. There's multiple we've got rooms about all sorts of different topics. We've got a retro rewind channel in there now. We've got a parenting channel in there, and it's awesome. I'm really excited. So huge thanks.
I like the new setup as well. It's we went from chaos to an organized chaos.
Yes. Yeah.
Line chat is good if you have 10 to 20 people, but when we had the number of people that we had, it just was spiraling out of control, and we knew we needed to find something else, and ended up repurposing the Discord chat that was started initially for the Extra Life thing coming up next month, and we just said, let's just do it, and we did it.
Yep. Absolutely, and man, it's freaking awesome. So, huge thanks as well to Tim as well over there, who's been helping us. So awesome. So yeah. Anyways, the news this week, by the way, it was a little bit slow, right? Not a whole lot of actual big news to talk about. We will get into our main thing, the main topic, which is the Wii Shop channel closing, which really, I guess maybe we can even start with that. The Wii Shop channel, the same day that the SNES Classic launched, you can always tell when Nintendo is a little bit like, when it's kind of bad news, and they drop it on the same day as a big launch of something. It's like, oh yeah, it's a Friday, and whatever. The Wii Shop channel is closing in like, what is this? Like, we figured like a year and a half, almost?
Something like that. Yeah, the date is January 31st, 2019. And I thought that was the day that they were shutting down. You couldn't even log in anymore. But after hearing a little bit more about it, sounds like that's just the last day you can purchase new items.
Yeah. So they've said March 31st, 2018 will be the last day that you can add funds to your account. And just to clarify, this is not the Wii U eShop. This is the Wii Shop channel, which was, you're basically like the Wii equivalent of the eShop, where for a long time, all it was Virtual Console on there, right? And maybe, I guess, like, the Metroid Prime 3 channel and a couple of things like that, right?
Yeah, they had a browser you can download.
Yeah.
The Wii Speak channel you can download if you bought the device and had a code for it. Yeah,
exactly. So that's the thing.
And then they did expand it into a WiiWare service for like indie games. I think World of Goo was like the first game for that.
Yeah. Which is super cool.
Super Meat Boy was supposed to be on it, but they couldn't get the game small enough.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. It had to be less than, what was it?
Like 50 megs.
It was. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
That's crazy. So I mean, I think now is a good time as any to kind of reflect on.
Which is basically 400 blocks, because they measured disk space in blocks, which is 1/8 of a meg. So 8 blocks is a meg.
Right. So I think now's a good time to, as we kind of get this news. I forgot, I kind of went back and looked at the Wii Shop channel and the variety of Virtual Console games on there, and I am kind of amazed at...
It's great.
It's amazing. There are so many games on there that have never made it to anywhere else, right? Like all of those Genesis, all those arcade games, like tons and tons and tons of stuff that has not made it anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So from now until, it would be really nice. They're not going to do this, but it would be really nice if they'd go and cut the prices on all of those, just so people could go if they wanted to. I don't even know if it's can you load it with a credit card, or do you have to go buy a card somewhere to load things on there?
Yeah, you can load it with a credit card, but you're limited to $5, $10, or $20 increments, maybe 50.
Yeah.
I remember that being very strange. That was such a weird decision that they couldn't just let you buy what the price of the game was. You had to add points and stuff.
Yeah, they didn't start doing that until the 3DS.
Yeah, and thank God they did. Yeah. I remember that. I remember when I saw that on the 3DS, I was blown away by how convenient and amazing that was. That we could just,
But because of how they're doing it, you had to pay the tax for your region at the time you purchased the points.
Right.
We're unlike the Wii U, the 3DS, and the Switch, where you can load $20 to your account and then pay the tax at the time you purchase the game. So if you put $20 on your account, you're paying the tax on that entire $20.
Yeah.
Even if you only want a $5 game.
That was so weird. In
fact, I still have 500 points on my account.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've had that ever since I did the Wii to Wii U transfer, and never spent it. So that's still there.
Oh my gosh, you got to get yourself an NES game, Jesse.
I might have to. I've already paid for it, so why the hell not?
Really?
So that's the thing now. I know some people who still will still make a regular thing of going into the Wii mode of the Wii U to get games, right? That was a thing for quite a while, because the Virtual Console on the Wii U was not great, but you could go into Wii mode and still access the Wii Shop channel. You can still do it, and you can still access that huge library of games.
In fact, I did that the other day because I bought Castlevania 3 when it was new on Virtual Console on the Wii, and I didn't want to rebuy it, so I went into Wii Mode and went into the Wii Shop and re-downloaded it from there. And so that's when I saw I still had 500 points, and they actually did update the news in the Wii Shop to announcing of its closure.
Right.
So I was even surprised that they even bothered with that.
And like before that, I bet you like the most recent news before that was like, oh, by the way, Wii Online, what did they call it? Wii Connect 24 or something like that.
When that disconnected in 2014.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So
Well,
so Josh, did you play a bunch of the Virtual Console? Like was that a big draw for you at the time?
It actually was. I remember that was at launch, I believe, for the Wii. I think they had that
was
at launch.
It was at launch.
And I do remember that was a time when it was a very unique thing, like to be able to download all those little games, specifically to the audience the Wii was really marketing itself to, which was like more of a kind of casual audience that wouldn't know about like illegally downloading them or something like that. And I totally got into it. Not only was I downloading Virtual Console stuff, but I was also downloading the WiiWare stuff when that came around. So I have a lot of fond memories from digitally downloading stuff off the Wii eShop. Or the Wii Shop channel, I think is what it was called, right?
Yeah. Wii Shop channel.
Uh-huh.
So, it's pretty exciting. I guess for now it's kind of the end of an era. They've said, so just to repeat the dates again, the end of March next year, so the end of fiscal year, I guess, right?
Yes.
Next year, or this year, you will no longer be able to load anything onto your account. And the after that, you've got until the end of January 2019 to buy new things with that money that you've loaded onto your account. Then after that, for an unspecified amount of time, you will still be able to re-download all of your old games. So,
and then eventually that and the Wii to Wii U transfer will shut down. They just haven't announced those dates yet.
Right.
I have a question for you guys about the Wii mode on the Wii U, because I've never used that. Did it play the Virtual Console games in like an HD format, or was it like the Wii's resolution?
The Wii's resolution.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, man, I could play the original Paper Mario in HD.
It's still it rendered at 40p, but it would upscale. It would upscale to 720p or 1080p to match your TV. However, whatever you have the Wii U set to, but it won't render it at the higher resolution.
Do you remember, Jesse? In and I can't remember this either. In Wii U. On the Wii U, if you launch in Wii mode and you're using the gamepad, if you launch a Virtual Console game, can you use the gamepad to control it?
I think there was a special instance where you could. I don't remember what that was. But in general, when you go into Wii mode, the gamepad can only be used as the display and the sensor bar.
Right.
But you still have to have a Wii remote and or accessories to do anything with it.
I actually just found my gamepad on my desk, but it's not. Look, could not.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
To the Wii U console. Yeah, that's nice.
How does the thing still have a charge?
Oh, it actually. I was playing it a little bit this week for.
Oh, okay.
But listen, you guys are gonna get shocked to hear this. My Wii U is the only Nintendo system that's plugged in my house.
What?
That I don't even have my Switch is in a box in my closet, along with my Wii, and it's because of Netflix. Because I watch Netflix every single day and night, so it's like I don't want to have a bunch of systems under my TV, and I kind of just have to pick the best choice. And so when Switch gets Netflix, I will be very happy.
And I heard it is coming. There's just no known date.
I heard. I guess I don't know if they were rumors or confirmed, but people at Netflix were like, "Yeah, it's done and ready to be, put out on the Switch, but we're waiting for Nintendo." So hopefully Nintendo wakes up and gets that going.
Maybe it'll be, part of the whole 2018 online stuff.
Hopefully. I kind of want it sooner than that.
Yeah, I would prefer. I don't know. The sooner the better, man. I don't know what the.
I understand some people want it. I would never use it personally, just because I've got 15 other devices. If I want to watch Netflix, not on a TV, I'll use my iPad.
Yeah. So speaking of Virtual Console, this past Friday, the other thing, if you want the modern iteration of Virtual Console, which is apparently all we're getting right now, other than the Arcade Archives stuff, is the SNES Classic launched this past Friday. We're going to talk a little bit about it. Actually, you know what? We might as well talk about it now. I don't really. There's no big difference, but whether we do it now or later. I guess as far as other very quick news stories before, and then we'll actually maybe just jump straight into what we're playing. Big news, other news stories. Stardew Valley and Axiom Verge are both releasing on the Switch tomorrow. Oh, there's a cat in the frame. Nice job. So there's a Stardew Valley and Axiom Verge both showing up on the eShop tomorrow, as well as again a few other games. How are we? Are you guys excited about either one of these? Josh, are you a fan of either one of these things?
No, but there is an amazing game launching tomorrow that I'm definitely buying.
Oh, what is it?
A Hat in Time.
On the eShop?
Oh, no, not on a Nintendo system. It's for Steam.
Okay, nice. So A Hat in Time is your excited game for tomorrow?
I've been kind of slowly following it, and now it's like I saw a tweet that it comes out tomorrow, and so I did tons of research on it. That game looks amazing. And so
for some reason, I'm going to show my ignorance here. For some reason, I got this confused with Henry Hatsworth for a while.
I think those are completely different genres.
They're completely different games.
Didn't Justin get a review code for this, or was that something else?
Oh, it's for Steam only right now, right? Oh, it's like a 3D platformer thing.
It's like, yeah, and it's got tons. Like, just if you watch like the latest trailer, it's really great. I think it looks better than Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah, I've heard that comparison floating around.
Why are the not? Oh, yeah, and so apparently the Switch. I keep seeing something that like the Switch is not even necessarily.
It's not guaranteed on the Switch.
Is Nintendo just not working? They're not playing. Or
yeah, I think originally that was kind of what was going on. They wanted a dev kit, and Nintendo was just really wishy-washy and ignoring them, I guess. But I think they have one now. That's what I heard, that they do have one now.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that they're making a 3D platformer that is hat-centric? Like,
hats are a very big fashion statement in 3D platformers this season.
Apparently, yeah. So that maybe
get this. The main character can even drive around on a scooter, much like our favorite mustachioed plumber in New Dawn City's got a scooter. Looks just like it. So I don't know.
Yeah. But, it's that's.
I hope it comes to the Switch, because it seems like it'd be at home on a Switch. Setup, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm sorry, I completely derailed that. What's actually coming out for the Switch tomorrow?
The two big ones. There are 6-7 games coming out this week for the Switch.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna derail again. This is what happens when you invite me on here.
It's okay. That's okay.
I was excited to download a game on my Switch a few nights ago. I was like, you know what? I just want to play a game on my Switch, because I'm in the.
What is going on? What's going on? I have. Rant.
There's mood music. I was like, oh my god, this I'm really setting the mood here.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
So I was looking at the eShop on the Switch. I listen to Nintendo Dads every week, as you guys know, and you guys are always talking about how crazy it is, how many games are on the Switch. I'm listening to Justin say, oh my god, there's too many and all this. I couldn't really find anything that blew me away on the eShop. So I think I need you guys to tell me what this massive amount of amazing games are and where they're hiding from me, because I spent like 30 minutes looking on the.
Okay, so I think that here's the thing, is that there are a lot of games that have been released on the Switch, and I think part of it is that at least for myself, when I say, oh guys, there's no games on the Switch, I think I'm being a little bit facetious, because I do know that there are people out there who are just saying there are no games on the Switch. And so I like to rib those guys, but
listen, one of those people is kind of me.
right. So I would say there's two parts to this. Okay. One part is number of games, like literally just the quantity of games. Mm-hmm. And last week alone, like 17 or 18 games came out. Right?
Where though? I don't know where to look.
On the okay, so there's the very first. On the eShop, there is something that says recent releases. And that's where they put new games.
So, but it only has room for so many.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
So you go to the bottom of that, and it'll be view all, and there you have minor sorting. But so any game that's been released 2 weeks ago is already fallen off.
Yeah.
See, and that's my problem. Like, I'm not constantly stalking this news and stuff. Yeah. So if I'm just casually looking for something to play, it's kind of a headache. It's a little bit of a nightmare.
It is absolutely a nightmare. You would have no idea, for example, that Sonic Mania even exists on the eShop right now. It'll go in there. So like there's so many games on here that so just looking through this all list, right? So as far as actual games that people really like, Golf Story is a big one.
I've seen that. Yeah, people said it's like the story mode in Mario Golf for the Game Boy Advance, but I didn't really enjoy that part of Mario Golf and Game Boy Advance.
It seems like it's got a little bit more snark to it, though. Like the attitude of it, like it's maybe a little bit.
The story goes in places I don't think a Mario game would ever go.
Okay.
Yeah, like maybe more like Earthbound, sort of. Like
I'd say
edgy humor. Maybe.
I have a question. So you guys have played it?
I haven't actually.
I'm on the final course and stuck.
Question for you. Does it have actual like golf? I mean, this might be the dumbest question ever. Does it have actual golfing?
Yes.
Okay.
You can go to quick mode off the main menu and just play a golf course right off the bat, or if you do the story mode, you'll get there. I think they have 8 courses total. Each with a 9-hole course, and going through the story mode, you'll play them all eventually, multiple times.
Okay. Now here's my second question to that. One of the things that I never really loved about like Mario Golf on the Game Boy Advance is obviously it's not a 3D game, but they tried to make it like a pseudo 3D landscape. How does the golfing work in this? Because the golfing, from what I've seen, looks like it might be like Legend of Zelda top-down view, but with golfing, and it's not trying to simulate a 3D landscape.
By 3D landscape, do you mean like with hills and stuff, or what?
Yeah, I mean like like the way Star Fox pretends to be 3D in the SNES days, but it's really not.
It's pretty much like what similar to Legend of Zelda, just pretty much a 2D plane. They don't really show hills and whatnot.
Okay.
When you're on the green, it tells you, this is at a slope about a medium slope. So if you need to hit it uphill, you have to hit it harder. Or if you're going downhill, you have to hit softer. And you do see the ball kind of arcing,
But it doesn't go into that, like, behind the character pseudo 3D
no.
thing, right? Okay, no. Well, that could be a good... my interest has been raised in this game, because I hated that in Mario Golf on the Game Boy Advance.
One of my favorite games growing up as a kid was the original, like, on the Game Boy, was Golf, right? Just a classic golf game.
Remember the days when video games could just be called literally what they were on the NES? Baseball, golf.
Yeah, I'm gonna find. For anybody who actually played it, the music was always really amazing. So I'm gonna just find.
So if you've seen videos of the game, you should be about the size of your avatar is really small compared to the whole screen. When you're actually playing golf, that doesn't change. It's the same. Okay. It's the same avatar.
Now, see, I think that's the right way to do it then. I think that would be more fun.
In fact, while you're running around and not playing golf, you can still drop a golf ball and whack it anytime you want. And there are incentives to do so.
The golf ball you can whack, right?
Yes.
Golf ball specific. Okay.
Up and whack, yeah. Yeah, there you go. This is the old school.
And this is golf?
This was the original Game Boy Golf.
Listen to that ball fly.
Yep.
And it's the same sound they used in baseball, I bet.
And tennis.
So to answer your question, we've actually got quite a few in the chat room as well here. Which, by the way, to Conmen RDW, saying I just popped in to say I never knew Nintendo Dads was a live podcast. I've been listening for weeks. Welcome. We are indeed every Wednesday night we stream. So subscribe and hit the little bell thing, and you will know when we are live. So there you go. Anyways, we've got a lot of good suggestions here in the chat room. So Steamworld Dig 2 is another new one that's that I guess it's 2 or 3 weeks old now.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's basically. Have you played Steamworld Dig 1? Like, did you play that?
I played the original one, and I didn't play it a lot. I kind of liked it. That I got stuck, and it kind of really discouraged me. Like I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Which might be ridiculous to anyone who's played it, thinking, "Where is this man gotten stuck in this game? There's nowhere to get stuck."
Yeah.
But I mean, like Steamworld Dig 2 is something that I think is like that's cool. I like that it's that's like an original game built just for the Switch, right?
I think it's a console exclusive right now.
Yeah,
and then,
it will come out in other systems, but I think it's first on Switch.
Okay, but it's like a new game. It's not like, oh, this was on Steam or something.
No, yeah, this is new.
Okay, well, yeah, that's cool.
On Steam the same day as the Switch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Mighty Gunvolt Burst is another one. Golf Story is being said in the chat room. Stardew Valley is coming out tomorrow.
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what is the game? I saw it on the eShop. I don't remember the name, but it has bears and they're running around on a ball and making pathways behind them.
That is a brand new one, I think. Are you talking Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time? Is that the one? Or are you thinking...
didn't you get
I think it's a party game.
Didn't you get a review code to that?
Astro Beavers Party is it's called. And it like I don't know.
I thought you had a review code for that, didn't you?
I didn't take it. I know somebody did.
Maybe Marty did then because of the kids.
Yeah. So I don't have. So that's. Yeah,
that one kind of piqued my interest because it was bears and looked kind of insane, but at the same time, I felt like I thought there was going to be more modes than just the mode of run around on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I was wondering if many of you guys played it.
No, unfortunately not. Other ones here. Shovel Knight up. Yeah, Shovel Knight. Who said that, Chris? Of course. I mean that's been there since launch day. Thimbleweed Park was another one. If you like point and click adventure games. Although I think you can get that one on iOS, and I would say that that's probably where you'd want to play that instead of the Switch. Mostly because it's half the price if you play it on iOS or Android. So yeah, there's lots of stuff more recently. I know you were interested in Goner. That's out now. So, so yeah, I mean, there's lots there. There's a lot of stuff on there that I think is getting lost, and I think that comes with being. As the eShop grows, there's a little bit for everybody, but also stuff's going to get lost in the shuffle here. So, and
I think that's a problem that I would hope they take seriously and fix soon, because like I said, I don't really check Nintendo news sites anymore. I get my news from literally this podcast, and so like if I don't like see the games on a news website, then I'm really, really in the dark, and just relying on the Switch eShop to know what to get is, I mean, I might as well have no idea what's out there.
Yeah. I mean, another way of doing it, if you're looking for quality new games, is going to that bestsellers list. And I mean, that's on there. Like number one right now is Golf Story. Steamworld Dig is up on there still. Overcooked is on there.
How is Overcooked? I've been interested in that.
I haven't played Overcooked actually, because I'm worried about getting that game because I don't really have a lot of people that I could play that with. Like, I don't think that my kids would be good enough at that game. I think they'd just get frustrated. So
I watched Bobby, the Nintendo guru, play this with his wife, and I realized just how evil he is when he plays games with others. And how much shouting and no cooperation. I thought me and Nick on the Fold were bad teammates. Oh my lordy. But that looks like a cool game. I heard when it first launched, I think it launched in July, I heard there were some like performance issues on the Switch version, so I kind of held back a bit, hoping they would update it. But I think they updated it and it runs better now, so I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, that's one that I don't know. I feel like if I had people to play it with, I'd probably play it, but because it does look fun, I just don't really have anybody to play it with now. So, very cool. So that's there's more games coming tomorrow. We've got I don't know. I'm really tempted by Stardew Valley. I've heard good things about it. I don't know if you've played it before, Josh. It's like a Harvest Moon sort of thing. So I know you really like Animal Crossing. I don't know if you.
That's what everybody keeps telling me. They're like, "Josh, you like Animal Crossing. You should be interested in this game."
Yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out.
I'm kind of in a place right now where we're all just kind of waiting until Mario, right? And so this is like, maybe Stardew Valley is like the perfect game to hold us off until then. And of course, if you haven't played Axiom Verge yet, what are you doing? Like, If you don't have that anywhere else, that's a great game. I played it just today. I have it on Steam. So that's also coming. And it's basically, the thing is that the timing, if you are playing a 3DS, then the timing actually isn't great for this, because people are just kind of wrapping up Metroid. So I don't know, maybe we're all Metroided out by now for a while.
Tim in the chat says that Mutant Mud is coming soon.
Yeah. Nice. Oxenfree is also this week, so lots of cool stuff here. Let's get into what we've been playing though, because I think that with the SNES that has come out, we have some stuff to talk about. All right, and of course, what we've been playing, I think obviously the SNES Classic came out this week. I actually did not get one. Jesse, you are the only one here who got a SNES Classic. How is it, man? You've been playing it like crazy, right?
Actually, I haven't been playing much of it yet, but my son has, and he had one of his buddies over last week, and they were playing some. What were they playing? They started up Secret of Mana, because that was a game they were interested in, and my son did play his 5-minute speed run of Link to the Past with the glitch, and that still works.
Wow. That is pretty amazing. Did he stream that, by the way?
He did at one point. I think the video's out there, but I know he wants to do it again as part of the Extra Life stuff next month.
Nice.
Along with his speed run of Mario 64.
Very cool.
His time is around a half hour now.
Wow, that's crazy. So what are we? So how are we feeling about all of this then? How do you feel about the unit in general? Is compared to the NES Classic? Because I know I actually do have an NES Classic. Is it basically just same deal again?
I think it is. I think I haven't opened it to verify, but my suspicions are that the insides of both units are identical.
Okay.
Which is have part of the reason why the modding community has already broken into the Super Nintendo Classic to see what's inside.
Right.
Yeah, but
how light are these machines, by the way?
They're pretty light.
The controller is heavier than the unit, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you pick up the Canadian or the NES, and it's like hollow basically. So.
See, I almost wish that. I mean, I don't own one, but I think it would be even better if they put something heavy inside of it just to make it feel more substantial.
Right.
I think Chinese knockoffs do that, where they'll just put some lead brick inside of the cheap piece of plastic to make you think there's some real big thing there.
Yeah. Normally that would be taken up by the power supply, but there's it literally just takes USB power, from a USB micro, and that's enough power to run the whole system, including the HDMI port. So
how did yours then, Jesse? Did you pre-order, or how did you manage to get one?
Yeah, I did a pre-order from GameStop. I was in the office that day. Normally I work from home, but 2 days a week I work from the office usually. And that Wednesday, where everywhere but around noonish, everyone had the pre-order up, and then so the Best Buy had it on the website and it was gone right away. Amazon had it on the website and it was gone right away. So the chatter in the line chat was GameStop's got it, but they're not putting it on the website. You got to go in the store to pre-order it. So I'm like, I'm not in the middle of anything right now. I'm going to go. So I left work, went to GameStop, and I was trying to remember. I think sixth. I was sixth in line, and the guy was just waiting for his system to refresh because he was still waiting to know what the bundles were. And until his system refreshed, he didn't know how many standalone units he had, and he didn't know what the bundles were. So we're kind of all waiting around almost like 45 minutes before he finally just rebooted his system, and then everything updated. But in that time, one of the people in front of me left, so I'm now fifth in line. So when they get the count of how many units they have 5 units. So I was able to get a unit as a standalone without having to buy a bundle. And then everyone else behind me, if they still wanted it, had to buy one of the ridiculous bundles that we talked about.
Yeah.
A month and a half ago.
Yeah. So what have you played so far on there? Like, are you excited? Like, how is it so far? What's your general sort of impressions here?
Again, the menu system is pretty much identical, just using the new artwork for Super Nintendo carts instead of NES carts or box arts. The controllers feel nice. They feel like I remember Super Nintendo controllers feeling. I'm wanting to play. I think the 2 games I'm wanting to play the most are Final Fantasy 3. It's been a while since and I hate calling it that, Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah.
But but there is a distinction between the North American 3 and the Japanese 6, just because there's other localization things going on. So that and Secret of Mana, which is a game I think I rented but I never bought. So I never got far into the game.
Cool. Right on. And so it's I don't have a SNES Classic, but I do have a computer that plugs into my TV, and I have an Xbox wireless controller, and so I have purchased most of these games digitally somewhere, right? Like whether it's on the 3DS or the Wii U or the Wii or whatever. And so I've been playing. I actually have played a lot of the SNES games, anyways, including Star Fox 2, which has been leaked for a long time online and whatever, right? So that was, and so Jesse, you have no intention of playing Star Fox 2.
No,
right?
I'm not a fan of the series. I never played 64. I never played Zero. I think when I did play on the Super Nintendo, I think I got to level 2 and couldn't beat it.
Okay.
And so haven't been a fan of that one. It's never clicked with me.
Okay, Josh, you played you've played the leaked ROM as well. We talked in the pre-show, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking like it's been leaked for years. So, looking at this, what's your history with the Star Fox series? I think it's worth talking about this being a brand new Super Nintendo game for however long it's been. Have you what is your history with the Star Fox series? Do you like Star Fox? What's your
I do like Star Fox. I played the original one it wasn't the original one, but I played the N64 one, and that's really the one that I have probably the most nostalgia for. Mm-hmm. As far as that's kind of where I began playing Star Fox. I played Star Fox 64 3D, and I think Star Fox 64 3D is a great 3DS game. But my favorite Star Fox, if I had to kind of decide, I think actually by a long shot would be Star Fox Assault for the GameCube. I know there'll be some people that disagree with that, but it has a heavy
the only one that I've never played. I've never played that before.
Really? See, I feel the appeal behind that game is the multiplayer. I think that Namco kind of started it off as a multiplayer game, and then later on in development, they were like, well, you got to put a single-player mode in there as well. But it is a pretty robust multiplayer Star Fox game. And given that Star Fox is all about this cooperating with team and it's all that stuff, I think having multiplayer is pretty cool. There's some crazy awesome weapons. You can actually have somebody flying around in an R-Wing, and then another person can literally jump up on the R-Wing and they can drive you around. So you could be sniping your friends from an R-Wing while your other friend is driving that R-Wing. Some just really cool situations like that. I think it's very underrated, and I think it's because it came out during the time when Halo was the example of what all shooting multiplayer has to be. If it's not exactly like Halo, then it must be crappy. But But yeah, that's my favorite. I don't really like Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. I feel like it's trying to do something that the system is just really not that capable of doing.
Oh, it's not. It needed an extra chip just to try.
There you go. Yeah, I just think like, it's 3D, but it's not 3D. And so in today's modern setting, it really hurts my eyes. It gives me a headache. And I think it did back then, even in the, I think Super Mario Kart is even hard to look at today.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the old vector-based game, like arcade games, like Asteroids and Tempest and games like that. It's kind of like what the original graphics of the Super Nintendo Star Fox reminded me of when I first saw it.
So did you like the Star Fox 2? Like the original Star Fox? I agree. It was kind of like especially because it's basically just an on-rails shooter that's not very, and it's not very good, right? Well, it's all right, but it's not great. How did you feel about Star Fox 2?
I was pretty surprised to see just how many things in Star Fox 2 are actually almost directly copied in Star Fox 0.
Right?
That was very surprising to me. I was like, wow, this is just like a boss battle in Star Fox 0 where you like go into the head of the thing and you're in the chicken version.
And I think they did mention that a lot of what was in 0 did come from 2, and so I thought that they would never actually finally release 2. So when they released it with this, it was a surprise to everybody.
Yeah. So I played it. I played through it as well, and I'm like, like you, Josh, I had a.
Did you just have to try and remember my name?
No,
like you, Roger. I mean, David. I mean, Neil. Josh.
No, I was trying to get my thoughts together. I liked it as well. Like the visuals, it is hard to get into it, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed though in playing through it a couple of times, and I think that this happened a lot back then, was that yes, the graphics are not great, but once you play it a little bit and it kind of sucks you in, you forget what the graphics are and your brain starts filling in the gaps a little bit. You know what I mean? Especially with a little bit more of that abstract art style. And so after playing it for a little bit, I actually didn't mind it so much. Some of the frame rate issues, I mean, again, not that like, I think that IGN giving this game a 5 out of 10 is a little bit like, did you really actually appreciate this game for what it was through the lens of a Super Nintendo game versus
in 1995?
Yeah, exactly, right?
But
like,
see, that's kind of the problem. Like, I could go either way on that. Honestly, I do. It's hard because it's like there are Super Nintendo games that I can play and say, hey, this is still great. Super Mario World is an example of that. That is still great, even by today's standards. Yeah. But like this game, I don't think is.
The performance of the graphical performance, I will agree, is not great all the time, and I think that the biggest thing with this game is that it was ambitious as hell, right? Right. Like there's a reason that it was canceled. Like this came out around the time that PlayStation was touting what they were about to release, and like it would have been embarrassing to release this alongside like what were some of the PlayStation launch titles? I don't really even know.
I don't know. Some of those actually look worse than Star Fox 2, so maybe it wouldn't have been so bad.
Right. Yeah. So, but I again, after playing it a little bit and getting beyond the graphical issues, there is a really fun game underneath all of this. I don't know if you've played the DS game.
I did.
Where they kind of come back to this sort of overworld tactical strategy almost sort of thing. The thing that sets this game apart is that there is an overworld map or we'll call it an overworld map that kind of, there's stuff going on and there's missiles being shot at Corneria, and you have to intercept the missiles and also take out the planetary bases and the big motherships that are within the solar system that are also shooting missiles, while you are in the middle of like a dogfight or something like that, all this stuff is still going on in the meantime. And so if you take a long time in one particular level, then that means that missiles have traveled farther, and then you're going to have to go farther in order to catch up. And if you don't manage your time right, it's going to blow up the planet and you're going to lose. And in normal mode, which is what they call it normal mode. Really, it should be called easy mode, because I don't see how you could possibly lose in that mode as long as you are, just going and trying to take out the planets and the mission or the mothership. It's pretty easy, but other than that, like it's fun. Like I really like that normal mode, and it is surprising to me that the Super Nintendo is actually managing to pull off this sort of all range mode. Technically that's a pretty impressive feat as well. So I don't know. I really actually liked it. I immediately was like, you know what? Like I can see the gameplay concepts here that have informed future Star Foxes, and they've kind of drawn on that. But I want to see like what they did with from Metroid 2 to Samus Returns. I want Nintendo to do that same thing with Star Fox 2 and take that same sort of core concept and flesh it out into a really gorgeous, fun, full adventure. I think that would be, I think it would be a really good time. I don't know if they're ever going to do that, especially with how Star Fox Zero went, but I don't know. We'll see. So I also really liked the new characters, and I want to see them come back.
I agree with that. Yeah.
What is it? Foxy, McGee, and Poodle, McGraw, or whatever their names are.
We can all agree that Poodle, McGraw. We can all agree that's almost like a Wobble Puffets moment right there that Zach just had. So, Justin, I'm looking out for you. Don't let him use that anymore. Poodle, whatever. I was gonna say I think we can all agree that Crystal is garbage and never needs to return, though.
I've always especially when you've got it's like a lynx and a poodle, right? Like a dog. Mm-hmm. Their actual names are, what are they? Shoot, I forgot what the
Wobble Puffet?
Yeah, Wobble Puffet, exactly. Miyu, I think, is the name, and I don't know. Now I'm just embarrassing myself.
Listen,
and Faye is the dog's name. I know the dog's name is Faye.
Okay.
Miyu, yeah, Miyu is a lynx. So there you go. I would love to see those characters come back. Plus, I love the fact that you've got different types of R-Wings, and like if Star Fox is going to be, Nintendo's sort of space opera a little bit. Like I love the idea that there are different kinds of R-Wings. There's like I actually went on the online manual that they have set up for this game, and they have like, Peppy and Slippy are flying in armored R-Wings, and there's like light R-Wings that the two new characters are in, and then there's like the regular R-Wings. Mm-hmm. There's so much like little lore details that I think are really cool. Let's go like full blown, like this is like the Star Wars like X-Wing and Y-Wing or whatever. Right? Like,
that's the thing about right. That's the thing about Star Fox. Like there's so much room for its future. It's not one of those franchises where I think I love this franchise, but I don't know where they'd go with it from here. Like Star Fox is like, all right, let's do this. There's so much you could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nintendo Talk in the chat there says assault with a little heart by it. So my boy in the chat there knows what he's talking about.
Very cool.
Fellow Assault fan there.
Absolutely. Yeah. By the way, the Andross in normal mode is terrible. It's so bad. It literally, so there's like the mask, right? The mask of like it's half orange, half blue or whatever, and then it opens up, and then to actually attack Andross, it is literally a cube with Andross's face on each side, and it just rotates around, and like it's pretty bad. Literally just a cube with Andross's face, and that's how you take him out. So I don't even understand what that's supposed to represent. Like, is he inside
laziness?
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know. So anyways, it's I really like it. I hope that they come back and revisit that. I hope Star Fox isn't dead because of Star Fox Zero and the mistakes that Nintendo made with that game instead of...
Well, you say Nintendo, but it's really more Mr. Miyamoto.
It really... Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like...
I love the guy, and I think he's great, but I think that he's the one that's got to take the rap for Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, I think so. And the thing is, too, is like that if any franchise like I don't want the franchise to take a hit because the overall Wii U sort of concept was bad, right? And so then they were trying to justify it with Star Fox Zero, and instead Star Fox Zero ended up being like a whipping boy or something. I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, so that's Star Fox 2. What else, Josh? What have you been playing this week, man?
I always feel like such an idiot when I'm on a Nintendo Dad's podcast and this question comes up because because everything I'm always playing is the most random old video games imaginable. So recently I've been playing the Simpsons Hit and Run on the Nintendo Gamecube. I'm playing through the whole game too. Like I'm legitimately playing to beat it, and hasn't held up as well as I had hoped, but it's still fun. It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, but with the Simpsons, so it's not like really violent. It's just, you know, characters repeat the same catchphrases about 20 times a second. But it's really fun. And I've been playing some, what else have I been playing? I think that's mostly what I've been playing. I've been playing like a lot of other games just to look for Halloween related stuff in the games. Because we're going to be doing like Halloween stuff at the channel, playing Halloween games.
Nice.
Super Mario Galaxy 2 I've been playing, which is pretty good. Pretty good game.
Sweet.
For some reason, the internet thinks that I hate Super Mario Galaxy, which is interesting because I love the original Super Mario Galaxy, and I think the sequel is good. So I'd like to have this on record on a Nintendo Dad podcast. I don't this fake news about me hating Galaxy that's been spread. I don't get it. I've never said I don't like Galaxy.
Nice.
Chris agrees with me about Simpsons Hit and Run, by the way, in the chat there.
Amazing. I don't know if I've ever played that one. Like.
It was pretty well reviewed and everything. Like people were surprised by its quality. It's like Grand Theft Auto, but instead you run around the Simpsons world and you get to play as all the Simpsons characters.
Have you ever played Crazy Taxi?
I think you have I think you're thinking of a different game, Jesse. I think you're thinking of Simpsons Road Rage. That is like Crazy Taxi.
Oh, is it? Yeah, maybe I'm getting...
That was like a kind of a launch game for the GameCube around that era, and then a couple years later, they released the Grand Theft Auto type clone.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting it mixed up.
Mm-hmm. The Crazy Taxi ripoff was not that great. Simpsons Road Rage was not the greatest thing in the world.
So you're playing the better game of the two.
I'm playing, yeah, I can at least say I'm playing the better game of the two Simpsons games on the GameCube.
Nice.
Oh, you know what else I've been playing? Which is an amazing game that oh my god, I'd give anything for a sequel on like the Switch to this. Super Ghouls and Goblins, or Super Goblins and Ghouls. I forget it mixed up.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yeah, there you go. Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the SNES Virtual Console on my Wii. And it is an amazing game. I love it. The music, the art, the Halloween flavor. It's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, I like the music to that game, but the gameplay is
too hard.
I'm not a fan of the difficulty spike. I remember there was one run I remember as a kid. Was going surprisingly well. Like I had the gold armor, and I felt like I couldn't get stopped. And as soon as I get stopped, I didn't go anywhere until I had the game over and had to start over.
It's a really unique game, the way that it's set up, and that like you get the armor and you kind of level, like it's like you're building your armor up and the weapons and all that. I am so like Capcom is such a weird developer to me because they've got a lot of cool stuff. They've got a lot of cool stuff that they don't play with. It's always like, okay, Monster Hunter and like what else? Resident Evil, but they don't like where's a new Zack and Wiki or a new Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts or whatever. I don't know. I think the last one they made was for PSP, which I was really sad about because I don't have a PSP. Yeah, need a new one of those. So that's what I've been playing.
Wait. You mentioned like Halloween games earlier.
Yeah.
I think on the Switch, the Pixel Lines DX got an update that gives everyone 20 new Halloween-based puzzles to solve for free.
Well, I need to look into this now.
There you go.
I think Marty and I talked about it maybe a month or two ago. About a month ago, when the game was first new. I've actually been playing that quite a bit. You know,
any developer that goes out of their way to add Halloween content into their game is A-okay with me, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a win. I love the stuff that they do in Overwatch with that stuff too. Like all the weird skins and stuff for Overwatch. All the holiday skins in Overwatch, frankly. But,
you know what? I want to see that for Splatoon 2. Why aren't they doing that? Why isn't Splatoon 2 getting cool Halloween gear?
well, what didn't they announce the Splatoon? Didn't they announce a Splatfest? The new Splatfest. It was like power versus stamina, which seems
That's
like
not a Halloween thing.
Oh, you know what it is? It's okay. This should have been
paper.
It was the toilet paper thing, the front versus the back, which
is the dumbest Splatfest theme I've ever heard of. I think.
Ooh, like who? I have.
Who's passionate about that they'd actually care to fight on a team?
I don't know. And so you know what's gonna happen. I think there's actually a patent out there. I'm gonna just inform everybody now. Toilet paper patent. If you look up the toilet paper patent, it actually says the
correct way.
The correct way, which I think is actually over.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I hope it's over because that's the way I do it.
Yeah, it's actually over. So if you are doing it under, you're doing it wrong because the patent shows it as over. So,
Jesse, how are you displaying your toilet paper?
Most of the time, it's not on the roll and just sitting on the counter. But when it is,
oh man!
But when it is rolled, it's over.
You know what happens? You know what happens at our house though when that happens is that you do that and it's like next to the sink.
Yeah, but I don't have a 12-month-old.
Inevitably, here's what happens though: is that inevitably, a child uses the sink and water like spills onto the counter, and then there's this enormous sponge that's just going to soak up an entire. So you just ruin an entire roll of toilet paper.
Or you improved it, depending on your point of view.
Yeah, then you get free wet wipes. There you go.
Exactly.
I could keep going with that, but I'm going to stop.
But again, I say I don't have a 12-month-old in the house.
Yeah. So there you go. So just so everybody knows, I'm actually the post that we're going to put on here. It's on there. Okay. Just look it up. Just toilet paper patent. Google image search that and educate yourself.
Well, listen, no matter how I display my toilet paper, my house has a flaw in my bathroom where the vent is right underneath the toilet paper thing, and it just constantly blows it all over the place. So no matter how hard I try, my toilet paper is just going to be a mess everywhere.
See, that's a vote for on the counter.
There you go. Listen, we might have found the real answer to this Splatfest here. There should be a third category.
Yeah, nice. So that's yeah. I don't even know where we were.
What? So I'll pick this up. Zach, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I have been playing some more of Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions.
Oh wow, how's that?
It's pretty good. It's I had never played the original one on Game Boy Advance. I got into this series with the DS. What was it? Bowser's Inside Story, which I feel like even out of the ones that I've played, I think that Bowser's Inside Story still might be my favorite. It's just really fun.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but this one is really fun. I enjoy it. It is. I can't remember. Reviews all went up today, and I'm not far enough into this game to be able to give a full review. But I will say, I think it was Game Explain's video. He showed the original sprites compared, like the Game Boy sprites compared to this remake in the 3D engine. And man, the original game is beautiful. Like really great sprite work, and the environments are beautiful. These games, or this, the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga remake, it's still really good. Like it's still a really solid game, but there is nothing that really quite compares to Nintendo at its best possible, like sprite work sort of creativity level. The 3D models just don't compare.
Maybe they did it because you're looking at it in 3D, so the sprites wouldn't look as right in 3D.
No, there's no 3D in this game though. There's no 3D. There's no like they turned the 3D off. Even though Dream and Paper Jam both are in 3D, this game they specifically do not have that. So I don't know why.
Why?
Because wanted to get it out faster, and so
how? But the
I know.
Oh, okay. Well,
I have same questions. So I don't really know why this one is not in 3D, but you know what, we kind of guessed that maybe why they did it is because with the turnaround they wouldn't have to necessarily do all the 3D models, and they could cheat some of the environments maybe as they were recreating it if they didn't have to make fully 3D models with the 3D effect, and so they could cheat it with just 2D. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense to you. You're the sort of.
I feel like they could still make it look 3D.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. We get a lot of conflicting signals from Nintendo's designers. One design team is saying that 3D is very important, and that's why they made the game for the 3DS with Samus Returns. That's like one of the main reasons. And then we get a game like this where it's like, oh no, 3D is not important. It doesn't matter. So it's like, what is it? Is it important? Is it not important? Should I have a 2DS, a 3DS? What's the?
Yeah. It's an. I wish they would just. I mean, I get it, but I also think, come on, like
if that game were on the Switch, I would be genuinely excited to buy it and play it. I think. Yeah,
it's fun, and like I said, the last week, the Minions, the Minions additional content is interesting. Not yellow Minions, not.
I was just gonna say, this is unfortunate if we're getting Minion DLC in this.
No, Bowser's Minions.
Yeah, we're talking about. You know, when we were talking about this last week, and all the times you said Minions, so close to the Rabbids game. the yellow Minions are all I could think of.
No, it's more of like it's like a little sort of I don't want to say turn-based strategy game, like a real, like basically you just kind of create your little team and then you throw them against the other opposing team, and there's like a very sort of rock paper scissors type system to add some strategy to it, and you've got to level up your minions, all that sort of stuff. It's like, it kind of reminds me of like what a smartphone game might be like it's got that kind of feel to it, and I actually would play a game like that. So anyways, the Mario, it's fun. Like if you like Mario and Luigi games, if you're feeling like you want to play a game like this, I think it is a good enough game that they remade it, and like the original was really good. This one's just as good, and it is nice to kind of go back to a day where the Mario and Luigi games were a little bit simpler than they've become in more recent years. So it's pretty fun. I like it. The other game that I played this week that I want to talk about is, and I do have a code for Hive Jump. I unfortunately was going to review it this week, and then I realized that my gamepad, the left joystick, just doesn't really work very well anymore. Like it just doesn't, like it's totally shot. I need to actually repair my gamepad, because the left joystick, I hit right and there's a delay in the input, and then I let go and the right stick keeps moving. And so I think I need to replace the right joystick in there. So I may need to order a part or something. So I do either that or find a classic controller somewhere. I don't actually have one of those. So
wait, for what? I'm sorry. For what system?
For Wii U, brand new Wii U game called Hive Jump that is out.
Okay, and what'd you say? Your analog stick
on the gamepad just is borked. It just doesn't work.
Oh, I was gonna say, is it the thing where, because sometimes like if you have an analog stick and you're moving the stick when you turn the controller on, like for the GameCube,
no, it's not.
Okay,
that.
So it's not that.
It's consistently in every game that I play. Like, the joystick is actually it just doesn't work.
Does it go to the left or the right?
Both. Like it's like the actual input lag. I think what happened honestly is a kid probably spilled juice on it. So I may open it up, clean all of the contacts in there and see what the issue is. I had to do that with the Joy-Con recently too. So, and it actually fixed it. So maybe I can get it to work again. If not, I'll have to replace the part. But I have done that before. I've repaired other things, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. That's Hive Jump. It's out on Wii U, which is crazy to me that is even a thing that we can say in 2017. But there you go. The other one that I want to talk briefly about is Super Mario Run, which got an update. Was it this past week? And it has a really awesome new. I'm going to launch this just because, or maybe I can find the music. The new music in it's pretty ridiculous. Super Mario Run Remix 10 music. It has some really ridiculous music in it. Here we go. Oh, and I've got an ad. Hang on. I gotta wait for the ad to play. Thank you, YouTube. You piece of garbage.
They added Daisy, which I'm offended by.
Yeah, I've been trying to unlock Daisy. It actually takes a long time to unlock Daisy. You've got to get to like Remix 10 mode. Like, here we go.
Oh my God!
The music is amazing in the new mode. I love it. So.
Oh, what? What?
No.
This isn't real.
No, I false. I disagree.
Show me your love. No, this is fake. You're kidding.
No, this is actually in Super Mario Run now. This music.
This sounds like a supersonic racing. Da-da-da-da-da.
So okay, so there's a few things they've added in the game. Oh, here we go. Listen, this is Super Mario Land. Yeah. Anyways,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So basically, what's in the mode is that there's a star world now that you have to do specific achievements in order to unlock the star levels. There's Remix 10, which are very short levels that you have to go through one after the other. If you don't beat that level the first try and you die for whatever reason, too bad. You just don't get the coins for that level, and you just keep moving, and you just continue getting those rainbow coins. They're literally like a level that you play in 10 seconds or less, and you do 10 of them in a row, and it's actually really fun. Like, it's a lot funner than Toad Rally is. I'll tell you that right now.
A lot funner, Zach. A lot funner.
More fun. A lot more fun. Sure. Look, man, I've been out of school for like...
I think you're the one that spilled the juice on the controller now with that kind of talking.
There's also a mode now where if you have your music in the background, there is a music app thing where you can like control your music randomly in the app, which I think is a little weird. The only thing about it that I do like is that if you are listening to your own music while you're playing it, Mario actually wears headphones while he's running.
I saw that.
Control whoever else you're controlling. So like Toad wears them on the outside of his like mushroom head, which is really weird. Like apparently his ears are within the mushroom and not anywhere else. I don't know. So it's pretty. I think that this is a really good update for Super Mario Run. I think if you enjoyed it originally, I think it's worth revisiting for sure. So.
I've never played it beyond like a quick I downloaded it real quick, played like a couple levels like a long time ago, and I'm re-downloading it as we're speaking right now.
Did you buy the original sort of update or whatever?
I haven't bought it yet. I think I might buy it now though.
I think it's actually half price right now too. I think
it's $5. It's $5 instead of 10.
Have you guys ever looked at the reviews for this game on the stores?
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Wait a minute, you mean I gotta pay for a video game? What is this? You want money for something you made, Nintendo? I don't think so. What a rip. That's like probably a real review somewhere in this.
It probably is, yeah.
I did just get an error, though. I want to point that out. It's not launching for some reason.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. So, it's, again, the music is pretty bonkers. Oh, there's also Starman music. Here, let me find this. There you go. So I feel like you will enjoy this even more if you drop some acid before you play it.
Family-friendly podcast, the Nintendo Dads.
There you go. So that's what we've been playing. Is there anything else that we've been playing? Jesse, have you been playing anything else? You've been playing Golf Story?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about that. We did talk about it earlier, but I'm at the final. I didn't have any problems through any of the courses up until the last one. I mean, the goal throughout the whole game is to become a pro and to join the pro tour, and you finally get that opportunity. And in that pro tournament, it's one of those you got to win or fail scenarios. And in order to win, you have to shoot under par. So the person who wins shoots even. And the first time I played, I was 15 over par.
Is it like a really hard level, or?
Yeah, the greens are slopier than normal, if that's a word.
Yep.
The wind is up there. There's more water than any other courses. I think add up all the water in the courses combined, and this one has more. So a lot of water and a lot of wind is just a bad combination. One hole, I hit the water like 3 or 4 times. That was so. The second time I played it, I got to like 8 over par, but I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever actually beat this one. I'm gonna have to put some time in to practice some of those weird shots.
Get good, man. That's the only way to do it.
And then, so they also have a few little like other side quests to do involving like disc golf.
Okay.
And they have these. All the characters are funny. It's just they're hilarious. The disc golf people kind of like played off like hippies. They're like they want to be part of the whole golf thing, but they don't want to do the ball golf. That's old school. We want to do the new thing. And
you do.
What?
Not, like you do.
Yeah.
No.
And then in the first course, they have like a hidden mini golf course that is run by 2 scientists that are, the way they talk, they talk like the speed running community. Yeah. Okay. They're like the course record is 21 strokes, and I don't think there's any way we can beat that unless new secrets or routes are discovered. And when you end up beating it, and they're like stunned and shocked and don't know what to do. But yeah, so I'm amused by how they take these groups of people, and they act like other groups of people.
That's awesome.
And I don't know if many people would get the speedrunning terminology, but because I don't know that I don't know if that community is that great that the general public knows what a lot of the terms they use. But I've been following a lot of Summoning Salt's documentary like videos talking about the certain speed. Like I think he has the record for the Mike Tyson's Punch Out speed run, and he's done other videos with speed runs of other games. And that's one of the reasons why my son has gotten into the Mario 64 speedrunning. And then there's actually a TV show on Disney XD that talks about speedrunning. So we've been watching all those. And another thing that's kind of hidden in the game once you get past the bridge that's open so you can't cross it initially. Once it closes, you can get to the other side. There's this girl's house that has kind of like an NES system, and they play a game called Golf, Galf, which is basically like a clone of the NES Golf. And I tried playing it, and it's just as clunky, and I can't figure out the controls of that game at all. But so if you want to go, like, if you didn't like the I can't talk anymore. Like the Zelda look of playing golf, and from that perspective, you can play it from the NES style game.
Very cool. I am so torn between like right now there's Golf Story and then also Stardew Valley coming out, and I honestly am like so torn between the two. I don't know which one, because I'll probably get one game between now and Mario, and it's probably one of those two right now. Like I don't really know what else.
I am surprised about how long the story mode is. With being pretty much going through the whole game without having any issues, other than getting minorly stuck on a quest. I need to find the turtles. I'm like, what turtles? Things like that. But I'm like 20 hours in.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
I wasn't expecting a game this long.
Yeah, that is really good. Very cool. I also just remembered, by the way, that there's another game that we haven't talked about, and then we're gonna get into the emails. But that is, we would be completely remiss, especially with Justin not here, that we have not talked about Picross S yet.
Yeah, I did play a little bit of that, but it's Picross. But the thing that I really don't like about it, that one of the reasons why I liked the E-game so much on the 3DS is no touch controls.
Yeah,
I understand why, because when you get to the 20 by 15, those squares are so small. My fat fingers are bigger than the square and wouldn't know what to do.
yeah.
But it's definitely a different feel having to do a Picross game with Joy-Cons.
It's a little weird. Yeah, it is weird.
Because even the Pixel Lines DX game, I used the touch controls for that.
Yeah. And it's a little, I don't know, man. It's I do still like it though. Like there's still the core concept behind this game is still really good. I do enjoy it. It's just you're right. I do miss the stylus controls, and that is where that game is at its best, is with a stylus. But I don't know. It's still fun. It is nice. Like they've taken a few little things in there though to make it, for quality of life sort of stuff. There's like you can loop if you press left and you're on the farthest left column. You can press left again and it'll go all the way to the right.
I like that.
Right, like it does have a few sort of quality of life things like that.
And there's an option so you can have it like stop on the one wall, and then if you push it again to loop, or you can just have it go loop loop loop. You don't.
Right.
It doesn't even stop on the wall.
Yeah, so it's cool. I like it. It's a pretty good first entry, and I think we can anticipate that we're going to see a lot of these coming through the eShop.
And then,
so,
I'll never try it because no one else in my family likes Picross, but I think Marty will probably talk about it when he gets back. It has 2-player support.
It does?
Yeah.
What is the 2-player support? What is that like?
You each control a separate reticle and can work the same puzzle together.
Really? That is interesting. I don't know if I would have even known that. That's cool. So right on. Definitely try that. I feel like if I were to try to play that with my wife, she would just tell me to go away and like, no, I don't need you doing this puzzle with me. I can do this by myself. But this is the kind of thing that she does to not talk to people and not, she likes to get away and sort of do this sort of thing as almost like a sort of Zen sort of activity fun thing. But anyway. Right on. So I think with that, let me just pull up a bumper here. I think we do very quickly here want to go through a little bit of what we like to call community spotlight. And to do that, I got a special bumper here for Josh. Right here. Here we go. All right.
Was that somebody playing Wii Music?
It's
What was that?
Yeah, that was my special song I made for you on Wii Music.
Oh my gosh.
No, that's it was the
That's for a Mother 3, right?
It's the Magypsies sort of theme there. But if you've not played Mother 3, shame on you. It is one of my favorite games of all time.
Shame on me then.
Yeah, and all right. Well, Josh, with that, Nintendo Beyond is a thing now, right? How's that?
It's a thing.
How's that going?
It's going pretty well. It's a thing that has one video, technically, but I think it was pretty well received, and I'm very happy to have that out. It's a little episode of Make Believe where I talk about my ideas for how Nintendo's Animal Crossing team could revolutionize the fishing in the game, and it was a lot of fun to do. And now I'm moving on to the next project, which is creating a giant diorama of a Pikmin level in real life. So I'm using real plants. I've made tons of clay sculptures of the Pikmin creatures and Pikmin and the captains. And it even has a little bit of a story behind it. There's even kind of a little bit of a gimmick behind it. And I'm getting to do a lot of things in that project that I've wanted to do for a very long time. So it's just so filled with like a bunch of ideas that I've had over like the past decade. So I'm really, really excited to show that. And it's going to have a Halloween theme to make it even a little bit more special. So that'll be up pretty soon.
Right on, man. I watched your one on, what do you call it? The
shore shanty.
The shore shanty, which is like great ideas for fishing in Animal Crossing. So if you haven't watched that, this is not one of those things where it's just like, oh, it's just a Game Explained discussion video where we just talk about stuff. It's like, no, Josh like literally like put his blood, sweat, and tears and recreated Animal Crossing and in his computer and made it way cooler. And so like you guys definitely need to go over there and check it out. And if you're not supporting him on Patreon, like if you're supporting him on Patreon, then you get to see even more cool stuff that is not even in there. Like Josh, I get the sense, I know you in one of your videos you said that you even had like some technical issues or something getting this working or something, but like there's animations in here that didn't make it into the final cut. Like,
oh yeah, on the Patreon I posted some of the animations that I didn't use. Yeah,
which is super cool, and it's just awesome. So go and check that out, and if you're supporting him, then you're going to see all sorts of awesome, even more cool stuff. So check it out. I'm excited to see it, man. It's and not only that, but like I think you're one of the few people who is daring to do something again that's doing something. I think another really awesome sort of channel out there that's doing really creative Nintendo content is the people over at Smashified. I mean, they're doing just like 3D modeling mostly, right, or art, but anything like this, I think there are very few people who are doing the kind of quality work that you're doing. So and I'm not just saying that, it's really awesome. So
the check is in the mail, Zach, for saying.
Right. Right on.
No, but thank you, I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, man. So and again, remind everybody where to go now. So no longer
it is Nintendo Beyond on YouTube.
Nice. Right on. And I noticed that you just kept the B logo, which is cool.
That little B diamond logo. I was like, you know what? I kind of like that. I'm just going to, add that to being the B and beyond.
Yeah, very cool. Right on. Awesome. Well, with that, let's head into some listener mail, shall we? All right, and the Postman, the listener mail is brought to you by by the folks over at oneupbox.com. So use the code NintendoDads, get $3 off. You guys are awesome. You know all about oneupbox.com. Thank you to them. They send you geeky stuff in the mail every month. So, all right. So Jesse, I'm gonna read or maybe you should read it. Let's go with the second one here, and then let's go with this first one here. Actually, first I'll read this one, and then you can read the next one.
All right.
All right. So this one says, this one is from how would you say this, Jesse? N. Jamie?
N. Jamie.
Yeah. Okay. So it said, I had to write in and just share. This was from a couple of weeks ago. I said I had to write in and share how much I enjoyed the last two listener submissions for questions. The topics of diversion/time management and Switch accessories would both be welcome as weekly segments on the show. I don't know if we could do like a weekly segment on Switch accessories, but that's I feel like the plastic letter would be crazy. But I appreciate that, and I really appreciate your feedback there. Continuing, he says, you really felt Zach's enlightenment when they wrapped it up on their last show. Please know that I really love listening to this podcast with my kids, despite my wife's wishes. I don't really... I think we keep it, kind of clean, as clean as we can. We just had our third baby join our family last week, and we love having another girl in the mix. Please understand that if I had an extra $5 each month, I'd be throwing it your way. I still haven't been able to pick up a Switch despite there being in stock at all the Targets by my house. I wanted to express my gratitude for your program and all the added content that's been coming to YouTube. You're the best. Have a great week, and Jamie. So thank you, and Jamie, for that.
Maybe the wife's wishes is because of the warning label that was said should be on our show. That you listen to us and it makes you want to spend money.
Maybe that is the problem. Yeah, I can see that. Because that's definitely. I mean, it goes back to the thing with my son too. Like, Dad, do you think that we should get Mario when it comes out? Yeah, probably. We probably should. You're right, son. So, yeah, be careful because that's the thing. All right, so this next one is a very special email. I don't know. We'll see. This is
in more ways than one.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Nintendo dads. I was wondering if Zach could spend some time talking about the psychological effects of video games sometime. Do they really give kids ADHD or make them more angry? Your number one fan, totally not Zach.
Okay, so this was me. And this was an idea that I had a while ago. Where else to put it in the show? We don't really have any other emails. We do have one longer email, but I feel like we're gonna save it till next week because Justin and Marty will be here, and I really can't talk about FIFA. So
nor can I.
No, but I do want to. I thought that it would be interesting, just as a sort of a thing here. Being that I am a registered provisional psychologist now. I can talk about things at least with a little bit of, like, I've looked into this. I have the ability to kind of pour over the research on something and at least give people a little bit more of an understanding of where the research is on this. And I think before we even talk about that, I think it's important to talk about like what research is and like what scientific research is, especially around psychology. I'm trying to remember exactly what the percentage is. But there was a study or a sort of meta-analysis that came out not too long ago that said that a very high percentage of psychological studies specifically are non-reproducible. Like when they go and try and reproduce a study, they can't do it. They get a different result, which is... Before
we go into more into that, I kind of wanted to give my opinion of with completely unscientific, just my personal thoughts, and you can tell me how close you think I am. Especially this falls kind of in the category of, does video games make kids angry, or do games make people violent? My joke answer to that is sure, because there was never a war before 1980. But my more real answer is I don't think games make kids angry, but people who would be prone to violence can be triggered by anything. If that could be a video game, it could be a movie, it could be a TV show, and it could just set them off for something.
Yeah,
that's kind of so. How close am I to?
Yeah, so I think what you're getting at is basically the correlation does not equal causation, right? Like I think that's a pretty common statistical idea, and basically, right, that because, let's say, for example, you can look at, like, you can actually Google this, like, what are the correlations between different random things, right? Correlation between weird statistics. So, like, I'm going to just look this up. So, funny graphs that show correlation between completely... this is a thing, an article on 22words.com. Funny graphs show correlation between completely unrelated stats. So the divorce rate in Maine correlates with the per capita consumption of margarine, for example. Right? Okay. The number of people who died by becoming tangled in their bed sheets correlates with the total revenue generated by skiing facilities. Right? So the age of Miss America correlates with murders by steam, hot vapors, and hot objects. So
that's awfully specific,
right? Like so in other words, just because there is a relationship between two, like that there's a correlation, which means when one thing goes up, the other one goes up, right? Just because that happens doesn't mean that the Age of Miss America caused murders by steam, hot vapors, and hot objects, right? It has nothing to do with each other. Now, having said that, that doesn't necessarily mean that there is no relationship here. I think, like, I use that as a very extreme example, but just because a child is relatively violent or more aggressive and also plays video games doesn't necessarily mean that there's a relationship between those two. In this particular situation, I would say that it's more likely than the Age of Miss America, but that doesn't mean that the video games are causing the increased aggression.
In a lot of cases, it could be possible that the kid knows playing video games helps subside the aggression.
A lot, or it may be an outlet, right?
Exactly.
Or alternatively, it might just be that that more aggressive children like video games, right? And like, we don't know if that's the case. That's something that with ADHD specifically, we don't like. You really have to be careful about how you look at the data and how you interpret it, because if you look at kids who have ADHD, for example, lots of them maybe spend more time watching television even, and that's something that you have to be like, is it that watching TV gives kids ADHD? No, it's a genetic thing, by the way. It's neurodevelopmental. But also, kids with ADHD may actually like TV more than the average child. So, and they may spend more time because of that. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Correlation does not equal causation. Another thing, however, to keep in mind because of that is what we call the priming effect. So I don't know, just take, for example, Jesse or Josh. Josh, let's say you went to the movies and you saw the latest Fast and the Furious. Do you like those movies?
No. But let's say I went and saw them.
Let's say you did. Anyway, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. But like the Fast and the Furious, you go and see it in theaters. It was super exciting. You really liked it. And then you are driving home. Tell me, what is your driving going to be like when you're driving home after seeing the Fast and the Furious? Like, I'm
going to be driving really fast to make up for the time that I wasted watching that film.
So I know for me, one of the things that sometimes will happen, and I actually used to experience this. I sometimes am snarky, but I would experience this when seeing a Jim Carrey movie sometimes, where I was kind of be a jerk afterwards for a while.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, myself and my cousins had the same thing when we were younger, like back when, like the Ralph Macchio Karate Kid movies. Mm-hmm. We just, at the end of those movies, we just felt invigorated and just needed to run outside and burn off energy.
Where they're just exciting and they're like, all right, well, let's, like for me, if I see a Fast and Furious, then my wife's driving home because I'm not, because I'm going to be racing everybody off every red light that I've got and, that sort of thing. So there is something there to be said about, like, especially in a study where, and you have to be aware of how they have sort of designed that study, and a good study will compensate for that. But that is also a thing where a kid playing a video game may then be primed, right? Especially a violent video game. The brain is always, it's like a sponge, especially in kids. The brain is still kind of, in the first several years, I would say even the first 2 decades of life, one of the things that your brain is doing is that it is still, for a better word, it's still calibrating to its environment. And the brain, one of the cool things about the human brain, and any brain, but specifically the human brain, is that it is designed to thrive in a variety of environments. And so when you're first born, you can adapt to all sorts of things, but during those initial several, the first 2 decades of life, especially the first decade of life, what you're looking at is a brain that is trying to figure out, and I'm kind of simplifying this, but it's kind of being shaped into, the kind of brain that would be optimal for the environment that it's in. So in other words, what you're trying to do is what really good parenting and sort of enriching a child's environment is going to do is you want to expose them to kinds of situations that will be beneficial throughout their lives. This is why it's really important that, if you're normalizing violence in a child very early on, you look at kids who are exposed to real violence, that can normalize it, and then that can normalize violent behavior, and you'll see an increased likelihood of behavior later in life. What that says for video games is that there is something to be said for what you are normalizing for your child in life, right? And so those sorts of things, it's important for that to be considered. There is something to be said for the difference between fantasy and reality, but that doesn't necessarily mean that kids aren't necessarily always great at determining what is real and what is not real either. So so that's something important to keep in mind too. That's why I think violence, specifically really, really violent things, I think are not. I actually personally think it's not great for kids, right? Like, especially for kids who are wanting to develop good, positive social skills, things like that. It's for younger kids, it's not great for a whole bunch of reasons, mostly social reasons. I don't necessarily think that it's going to make a child overly aggressive, but it might normalize some things that you don't really want to normalize, right? You don't want your kids to think that stuff that's going on in Grand Theft Auto is normal, right? And that's probably an appropriate response for that. And I'm not saying how people should parent their kids. I'm just letting you know what the effects could be in that situation. So that's that. And by the way, if I'm talking too fast, or if you guys want to just ask me a question or follow up so far, let me know. But any questions so far before I keep going, or are we?
No,
I don't have anything.
Well,
okay.
we know Grand Theft Auto would be bad for kids, but what about the Simpsons Hit and Run?
This goes into I mean, kids can't know the difference between fantasy and reality, right? Like, there is a difference there. They know that they're playing, and a lot of times kids are, play is a really good way for kids to kind of figure out how they're going to act in the real world as well. What I would say is, well, and this kind of gets into genre specifically, but any time that you are playing any sort of game, I actually pulled this up, and this is a paper that I'm holding. Like, this is a scientific paper. Look at this. It's called The Neural Basis of Video Gaming, a Systematic Review. I actually pulled this up because I was like, I just want to know for myself, what's the research say on brain development? And what it really comes down to is that it really depends on the kinds of games that you're playing, how it's going to affect your brain. So, for example, what I will say here, and they kind of broke this particular paper broke it down, and they reviewed like over 100 different studies that were studying brain development. But they broke it down into attention, visual spatial skills, working memory, what else was there? All sorts of stuff. So basically what they came up with was that for attention, specifically, if you're looking at how video games affect your attention, your brain's ability to focus on one thing or another, it really depended on the genre of video game that they were testing. So if you're playing something like Call of Duty or a really high action Twitch-based game, that actually improved the person's memory better than a more slow-paced strategy game or something like that would be, because the brain is very specifically focusing on, I'm over here, now I'm over here, and like, you're very specific, very targeted Twitch-based gaming. It really impacts your brain's ability to focus, and it requires a lot of focus and those split-second decisions in those sort of situations. Were you going to say something, Jesse?
No.
Okay. So the other thing there, again, and really what you need to as far as questioning as well, the question to think about is, what skills are you using in this game, and are those skills going to transfer, right? And so strategy games, obviously, in my mind, it's no different than chess, right, or something like that, right? Like, it's the same sort of skills are going to be used in a strategy game versus in a game like chess, something like that.
I feel like playing Mario Kart a lot in my childhood actually did assist in driving. When I started driving for the first time, I remember just like specifically with like taking turns very well and stuff like that. I think that does relate to real life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not only that, but like reaction time. And
yeah, exactly.
Like that, where you're just like, or you know, and not only that, but even sort of visual spatial skills, right?
Right.
So, which is like your ability to see something and process it and use that information in order to change how you're going to, you know, react.
Right, like the distance between the vehicle and a curb or something like that, I think is very similar to when I'm playing Mario Kart and I'm trying not to hit that ledge when I'm taking the sharp turn or something.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, like, there's lots of, basically, the big issues here are, and what it really boils down to, without getting too much into the weeds on a whole bunch of stuff, what I would say is that there's really, like, it's all about moderation, right? Like, especially for kids, I would say, you know, like, monitor your child's usage. I would say, you know, and not only that, but monitor how that impacts your own child, right? Like if you, or yourself for that matter, right? Like if you notice that if they play longer than half an hour or 45 minutes and they start to, you know, like, how hard is it for them to withdraw away from it? Like if you say, all right, it's time to turn it off, like, what is that like? And is there a, like, okay, we're going to do 30 minutes or whatever long. How does that impact them moving forward? A lot of kids will get overstimulated when they have played video games for too long. In fact, frankly, I kind of get that way sometimes, where I know that I've played for too long when I suddenly am a little bit more irritable afterwards, right? I'm a little grumpy, and I'm like, oh, geez, like, and then I realize, oh man, I had a binge session of playing a video game for too long, and now I've fried my brain almost, right? And your brain has kind of got that sort of adjustment time afterwards. So I would say that so much of it, you know, the research is going to say what it's going to say, and I think it's worth paying attention to. But also, more than anything, everybody's a little bit different, and strive to do things that are, you know, ultimately it's up to you what is the best, and it's going to affect everybody a little bit differently. What I will say is that it does not give kids ADHD. That is a myth. ADHD is something that is that kids are born with, basically, and then they kind of grow into those deficits. But it is something that can be really positive, and it's no different in my mind than any other sort of electronic entertainment, movies, or even a lot of other, you know, board games, or you know, people said this about Dungeons and Dragons back in the day, right, Jesse? Like, I'm sure you can talk about that. As
pretty
far
much,
as like
any new medium at some point, some group will consider it taboo. Yeah, you know, even, you know, rock music on the radio, you know, color TV. Yeah, and that's not to say that for some kids it can be, or adults, you know, right? For some people, there is always such a thing as too much of a good thing, but that doesn't mean that thing is inherently bad or harmful. So that's ultimately what I would say about that. So so that's sort of my basic rundown. Any sort of like thoughts or questions or anything before we wrap that up? No, I don't have anything.
I feel like I just kind of, to echo what you guys said, I think video games can be something that's really beneficial for a child, as long as the parent is being a parent and making sure it's not getting out of hand and they're not playing like 5-6 hours a day and not playing the wrong games. I mean, there's ratings on games for a reason. So yeah, I think they can be a useful tool.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question for both of you guys, maybe as we wrap it up. What would you say is a reasonable like daily, like if there's a parent out there who's like, how much should I let my kid play? Like what is too much? What is what is the reasonable amount before I should go into the Switch parental controls app and turn it off, which I do all the time, by the way. You'd suspend software and it just shuts down the whole Switch. What would you say? Like, Jesse, what do you think is like a...
I'd say I think it varies depending on the age of the kid. I think if we're talking like someone under 6, I'd say probably start things off at a half an hour, maybe even less, and then monitor to see how things go. If everything's handled well and there's no other issues, you allow them more time if you want. And then when they get older, then they could handle up to an hour more easily. At least I think at the younger age, doing anything for an hour gets to be tedium. They want to constantly do something else.
Yeah. Another thing that I would say too.
So in most cases, they won't want to play for an hour straight. They want to do something. They'll want to jump around.
Yeah. Another thing that I would, I guess, like a tip that I would suggest if people are like having a hard time with getting the kid to stop. Something that always works with my kids and I think even for me when I was a kid was like give the kid a heads up, like, okay, you got 10 minutes, or even when you turn it on initially, we say, okay, we're doing 30 minutes and that's it, right? And like setting that expectation ahead of time is always going to grease those wheels and make it a lot easier too. So, what about you, Josh? What do you think? Like, does that sound?
Well, as the father of 12 children, I tend to know.
And he's talking about the ants in his bedroom.
No, I think Jesse's right. I think that age would definitely be very dependent on it. I think if they're like probably under the age of 7, probably about 30 minutes, maybe an hour on weekends. I think the days would also be dependent. Like, if they have school or homework or something to do on a weekday, maybe not playing as much. I also would say that it would probably be a good idea to play the games with them. So it feels like a bonding, kind of a social thing. And that might make it even easier to end it because it's like you're both ending it together. You're stopping playing video games and he or she is stopping to play video games and you guys go off, do something else. But yeah, I do think it would depend on age. So yeah.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I think
when a few years ago when my brother-in-law lived in the house and he had the bedroom on the other side of my wall here, one rule we set up, because he often had to work early in the morning, so he went to sleep early, is we really didn't give my son a time limit, or as in time per day, but we set 9 o'clock as a drop dead time, and if he's not off by 9, and we didn't give him any warning because we set this rule up well in advance and he was old enough. He at the time he was like 13 or 14 to manage his own time. And if he's caught playing after 9, then just flat out no games the next day. And and you got to enforce it. You make a rule, you got to enforce it. Otherwise, your rules won't matter anymore. So, and the first 2 times he hated it, but he learned that he realized it's my own fault. I screwed up. I'm getting punished. Life goes on, and he's fine.
That kind of goes back to like the self-regulation, right? Like that's kind of what you're talking about. Is like, okay, this is the rule.
Right.
And
I wouldn't give that a rule to a 6-year-old. They don't have that level of
yeah. Well, I'll tell you
what you just said.
Yeah, I'll tell you that with ours. Actually, the Switch has a really great tool in order to do that. In the parental controls, it allows you to set the timers or whatever, right? And then it gives you the option of whether or not it suspends once that timer is hit. And so what we sometimes will do with my son is if we know he's kind of having a good day and he's playing the game, then I'll be like, "Okay, buddy, I'm hitting the timer, and then it's up to you to turn it off." And basically what happens is if he does, then the next time he plays it, then it continues to, he's kind of building his own, again, self-regulation there, and it's up to him to turn it off. But if that alarm goes off and he continues to play, then the next time he does it, it's then as soon as that's over, it's going to shut off by itself, right? And you can have it as soon as that timer goes off, then it shuts off. But I prefer to not have to do that, right? And so I'll let him know, okay, that's going to tell you when it's time to turn it off, and it's up to you to turn it off. So, and I mean, he's 7 now. He just turned 7, but it's a very similar sort of thing. So,
I have this idea where I'm going to set a time limit for my kids, and then after that time limit, I'm going to tell them, you can still play, but we're going to play a really crappy game, and I'm going to make you play that crappy game for hours if you ever go over the time limit again. It's kind of like when kids caught smoking, and you're like, you're going to smoke this whole pack of cigarettes. So you're going to play Hello Kitty Roller Derby for 3 hours straight until you hate video games.
Oh, man. That's exactly what we're going to do.
Tough love parenting from Josh Thomas.
Yes.
Parent of 12.
Yeah, that would actually be an amazing feature. That as soon as the time limit hits, it switches over to Sonic Forces for the Switch, and that's just the only way that you can deal with that.
I was gonna say switch over to Picross to at least give them something that's mentally stimulating.
Yeah, there
Kids
you go.
are just like, you know what? Let's go outside and play. Forget this.
Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Hey, that's a good game on the Switch.
Yeah. So that is the that's our sort of email segment, our sort of listener mail. I know I kind of hijacked it, but we didn't have a whole lot of email. If you want to email the show, though, nintendodads@gmail.com. We will read your emails on the show, and you guys are awesome. We did get one from the the Discord. Tim asks, where do you want to see Nintendo in 2025? Very, like, 2-word answer, like, big picture. Jesse.
My joke answer is Kyoto.
Yes.
Because that's where they are now. I honestly don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. We're 10 years from now, we'll still be playing games. Probably more. I'm thinking probably more on the mobile side than the TV side at that point. And I'm expecting everything to be digital, and they won't even bother with carts anymore.
Yeah, I want actual VR by then. I want my ocular implant. I want to play some, I don't know, probably just Virtual Console.
Like your Geordie LaForge visor.
Yeah, there you go. What about you, Josh?
In 2025, I'll be listening to the Nintendo Dads podcast, and they'll be talking about how they got pre-orders for the SNES VR, and they'll be wondering about. No, I think I expect theme parks to be huge for Nintendo by then.
Yeah.
In 2025, actually, seriously, I think Nintendo, I hope, is bigger than just games. I think that's really what I want out of the company the most. Obviously, I want video games, but I really want to see movies, maybe some TV shows. I want to see the theme parks being great. I feel like they've got so much as a company that we're at this point where they really need to become more than just a gaming company.
Yeah,
I think in 2025 that'd be a good time.
All this talk about 2025 making me feel really old because I will be 50.
Man. So Josh, do you see them doing that, like mostly developing that stuff in-house, or is that just all with relationships with other companies?
I think it's kind of like what they're doing with Universal now, to where they do have definite control on the projects, but they are working with other people to get those jobs done. So like with films, I don't think that I'd imagine they'd reach out to very popular animation studios who would pick up that phone incredibly quick. I mean, that's the thing about Nintendo, right? I mean, you just have to call anywhere and they would be so gleeful to be talking to you because you are Nintendo and you want to work with them. So I think they would also, because of that, allow Nintendo to be very hands-on. I think, a little fun fact, Nintendo was actually kind of interested in Disney for theme parks, but Disney's attitude towards it was, hey, that's great. We're going to do everything because we know what we're doing. We're Disney. We know theme parks. And Nintendo was like, no, we want to have more hands-on with it. And Universal is more like, what? Yeah, do whatever you want. We'll do whatever you tell us to. So I think that's probably the situation we'll see with like film and TV shows and that with Nintendo. Very hands-on.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting. I am so excited for that Universal stuff. When is that supposed to launch again?
In Japan, it's 2020 before the Olympics. They haven't given exact time other than 2020 before the Japanese Olympics. I forget where they are exactly. Where are they? Tokyo?
They got to have the Prime Minister come out of another pipe.
Exactly. And then I do actually, I think I tweeted this out, but I do have a little hot tip just in case I didn't tweet it out. After Halloween Horror Nights, which is a Halloween event that goes on at Universal Orlando, they are going to instantly begin construction or demolishing an old area which is called Kid Zone, and that is where Nintendo World is going in Orlando. So basically, construction for the Orlando park of Nintendo World is beginning likely in November. So very, very soon.
Sweet. And I expect that you're just going to like parachute in every once in a while for photos and...
I'm going to work there, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Nice. Well, I expect free passes is what I expect then.
Listen, oh my God, I would absolutely guarantee you guys free passes. When you work at these theme parks, you get passes. I can get passes to Disney. So I definitely want all of the Nintendo dads there on the same day. Just see the Nintendo dads walk into the big entrance and give you guys a VIP tour.
That'd be so good. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Right we gotta set up a panel or something somewhere. Live show.
Yeah, and then like the staff will come by and we'll realize that we're just like at a cafe, and they'll be like, "Sir, have you paid for your meal?" No.
I'm with him.
Nice. You guys be having a coffee at Brewster's Cafe.
Dude, yes, that's what I want. Right on. All right. Well, with that, gentlemen, thank you once again, Josh, for being on the show, man. It's been awesome having you. As we kind of wrap up, why don't you let everybody know where to find you?
People can find me at Nintendo Beyond here on YouTube, and that's pretty much the main spot to find me. Right
on. Yeah, and have you sworn off Twitter? Are you back? No, I guess that's how I got a hold of it.
It's like a drug for me. I know it's not good for me. I need to get off of it. It's kind of back and forth. It's like one day my hope is to just get off of Twitter.
Yeah. I don't believe it'll actually happen, but
oh my gosh,
it's the thought that counts. So, well, thanks for being.
I'm gonna do it now just to prove you wrong.
try to provide motivation for you. That's all. Right on. Well, thanks again for being on the show, dude. And as we wrap up, Jesse, we got Retro Rewind. We were going to record it this week, but then Marty wasn't here and Justin wasn't here, and I wanted to hear their thoughts on Castlevania 3. So we have extended it 1 week due to extenuating circumstances. For those of you who haven't played it yet, go over, play some Castlevania 3, or if you want to get a head start on Metroid Prime, go and play some Metroid Prime. That's what our October game is as well. And so that's awesome. As well as everybody prepare for our Extra Life event that's coming in November. Prepare yourselves, prepare your wallets, give to a good cause. It's going to be a good time. So... right on. As well, if you guys want to follow us on all of the social medias, you can do so on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Nintendo Dads. If you want to email us, you can do so nintendodads@gmail.com. If you want to find our videos, you can do so on Twitch or YouTube. Search for Nintendo Dads, you'll find us. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, you can do so at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Huge thanks to OC Remix for our music throughout the show, as well as to both Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard for our amazing artwork. And if you want to change the world, which I know that you do, go over to Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, Google Play Music, or podcasts, whatever. Leave us a 5-star review. Written reviews are even better. Share us with a friend and share the Nintendo Dads gospel with the world. And of course, if you want to subscribe to the show, you can do on Apple, Stitcher, Google, and of course VGTribune.com. For me, for Jesse, for Josh, and for those missing two, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Wobble Puffet? Wobble Buffet?
Yep.